Man, nearly a year since Kingpin showed up in one of these opening skits. Good riddance. Was never personally a fan of the guy.
I wouldn't be too sure about that one, Spider-Man.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another average review. Still continuing the Spidey review week, this time with a figure that's been present since, well, pretty much the beginning of this series, the retro-carded Kingpin. I want to preface this review with just a little bit of a story about this Kingpin figure on my channel. I used to use him for little opening skits in some of my earlier reviews. I think the last time I actually had him in one of these was in the DC Multiverse Hush Superman review, which was over a year ago. So yeah, it's been a while since I've used this guy in one of those, but he's been present in a lot of the figure size comparisons, so he hasn't really been missing per se. But enough yapping about this channel. Let's get into the figure himself, starting out with the paintwork and sculpt detailing. Now, most of this figure is reused from the Kingpin Build-A-Figure, based on the time when he was mayor in the comics, so he has a mostly white outfit. But hey, all the old pieces work incredibly well here. I mean, look at that Kingpin head sculpt. That is probably the perfect Kingpin head. Pulling back, we can see the amazing contrast on the colors with this Kingpin. The light blue, the orange, the white, and the little pops of black and red on the jacket. It's perfect. Not as much interesting detail on the back, but we can see a lot more of the fabric tugs and wrinkles on Kingpin's jacket, along with some of the seam lines and buttons on his sleeves. The Kingpin's also got his pinky ring, which is really nicely sculpted and painted. Moving down, we can see Kingpin's got his nice, classic purple pants on, and also some plain black, although really incredibly detailed shoes. I mean, the shoes might be the most detailed piece on this figure. Moving on to articulation, and Kingpin's gonna be a bit limited here due to his incredibly stocky and large build. He's got a standard head on a disc hinge, which allows him to look up this far, and look down not so far. But his head can spin around side to side. He's got a diaphragm joint, which doesn't really allow him to bend down or go back too far, but he does get really good spin around and not much tilt side to side. He's got arms that can spin around like so and raise a bit above 90 degrees, which is pretty nice. He's got single jointed elbows with a 90-degree bend, but also some swivel side to side. Hands that can spin and hinge up or down. Now his legs can not really kick that far, but they get a really decent split. He's got thigh cut, so his legs can spin around. Similar to the arms, he's got single jointed knees with an alright bend, but they can also swivel, and feet that can hinge up, down, and kinda pivot side to side. So Kingpin isn't really a super articulated figure, but that's to be expected with someone as big as him. But hey, speaking of how big he is, let's see how he compares to other Marvel Legends, starting off with the standard size comparison for these reviews, Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and Spinneret. Kingpin is not only larger than them in height, but he is far wider. I mean, seriously, Kingpin is about as wide as both of them standing next to each other. And hey, that's accurate to his character. You know what else was super accurate to the Kingpin's character? The Ultimate and MCU version. So, we're bringing out the Ultimate Spidey from the Vulture 2-pack on the left, and the MCU Spidey from No Way Home on the right. I gotta say, I really hope in the future MCU Spidey movies, he gets to face off against the Kingpin. Sure, he's more of a daredevil enemy in the MCU, but Kingpin was created as a villain for Spider-Man. But hey, for someone Kingpin is definitely going to encounter in the future MCU movies, we gotta bring out Luke Cage, specifically the Netflix version. But hey, There's few people who dislike the Kingpin as much as Matt Murdock, Daredevil. On the left, we have the one from the Spider-Man Retro card line, and on the right, we have the one from the Toy Biz Urban Legends box set. But hey, speaking of people who have a dislike for the Kingpin from the Urban Legends box set, we're bringing out the very heavily disliked Elektra and, honestly, not too bad Punisher from that box set. But hey, we gotta also bring out some guys that commonly work under the Kingpin, starting, of course, with Bullseye. This one is from the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Galactus series. But hey, in terms of Spidey-focused villains, the Kingpin employed the Sinister Six, called the Insidious Six in the show, in Spider-Man the Animated Series. Here's two of the members I have, Doc Ock on the left and Chameleon. Let's bring out two more members of the Insidious Six from that show, being the retro-carded Marvel Legends Rhino on the left, who's pretty similar in size to Kingpin, and the Marvel Legends Steve Ditko Scorpion on the right. But hey, Kingpin ain't exactly on good terms with every villain, of course. On the left, we have the retro-carded Hammerhead, and on the right, we have his son, the retro-carded Rose. But for one you might not expect, we have the Marvel Legends Villains Wave Red Skull? Because in the comics, Red Skull and Kingpin actually fought. Yeah, this is a real comic page. And guess what? This is the second Spider-Man related review this week that I've pulled this Red Skull out. The Nazi archenemy of Captain America is oddly connected to the Spider-Man mythos. But hey, let's also bring out the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Onslaught Wave Green Goblin on the left, and the Hasbro Sandman Wave Green Goblin on the right. Why? Because he's the Green Goblin, and this is a Spider-Man related review, that's why. But hey, let's end the comparisons off with another staple of this channel. A comparison in height between the Kingpin and Hitmonkey and Goliath. Now, in terms of accessories, Kingpin only came with two, but they're really good. Unfortunately, I'm missing one of them, that being his cane with the big diamond on top. Bit of a shame, but I do have the other accessory he came with. This great and scarred yelling head sculpt. Now, this is the same mold as the alternate head for the Kingpin Build-A-Figure, but it's got a new scarred and bruised paint job, which is really nice. Kingpin is a rich man with a lot of worth, and it reflects in the eBay prices for this guy loose. It'll run you between $40 to $60. Now, this figure's great. I love him. It's probably the best Kingpin figure. But that's a bit expensive. If you think that's a fair enough price and you can afford it, well, more power to you. But personally, I'd wait for either a re-release, or if you see him for cheap, or even the Build-A-Fig for cheap, I'd recommend springing on it since that doesn't happen too often. Despite me not being a super big fan of the aftermarket prices for this guy, I can kinda see why they're so high. After all, I'd said this is probably the best Kingpin figure, so having him at high prices does kinda make sense. Overall though, I'm just viewing this guy as what I have right here, ignoring the eBay prices, and I'm gonna give him a 10 out of 10. He's probably the best a Kingpin figure ever could be. This is day 5 of the Spider-Man week, which means there's only 2 more reviews left. And I gotta say, the next one is a pretty big one, so stay tuned. But hey, to those who made it this far in the video, give it a like if you just feel like it, and remember to have a great day, 'cause you deserve it.